So just like we've done systems of linear equations, we're doing systems of linear equalities. With systems of linear equalities, it's just like systems of equations. When we graph, solve by graphing with lines, we just graphed each line individually. Wherever they cross, that is the answer. So for the systems of linear inequalities, we are going to graph them, and wherever the shading crosses, that whole section is our answer. All right, so they define it, a solution of a system of linear equalities makes each inequality in the system true. The graph of the system shows all the solutions. So you will have a section of your coordinate plane that is your answer, and it will be where your two graphs intersect. All right, you're just going to graph them individually. Look at the first one, graph these. They gave us one in slope-intercept form. They gave us one in standard form. And so I'm actually going to graph these two different ways, and you can graph them whichever way you want. For the first one, I'm going to graph in slope-intercept form. I'm going to start at my -5. And I'm going to walk up from there using my 2/1 slope. So up to and over 1. And so I'm going to do that with this particular one. Now, this is greater than. It is not greater than or equal to. It is not greater than or equal to. So I need to make a dashed line here for this particular one. A dashed line. And since it's greater than, I'm going to look at my y-axis and I'm going to shade everything above it. All right. And then I'm going to look at the next one. Now for this one, I'm going to choose to graph this using intercepts. All right. So for my x-intercept, I will just zero out my y. So for my x-intercept, I'll have 3x equals 12. My x-intercept here is 4. And so I'm going to put a 4 on my x-intercept here. All right, a 4 on my x-intercept. For my y-intercept, I am going to just zero out my x, and I will have 4y equals 12. So my y-intercept here is 3. And so I'll put my y-intercept here at 3. Now this is also does not have an or equal to. This does not have an or equal to. So I am going to graph this one with a dashed line as well. All right, so we're going to do a dashed line here. Now, if I want to shade this one, remember I have to look at the sign in front of the y. The sign in front of the y is positive, so that means this would not flip if I put it in slope-intercept form. So I can use the less than. So I would shade this line below the line. All right, so I would shade below the line. It would be everything below that red line. Now you'll see I have some section up here from the blue line. I have some section down here from the red line. But the only place that they cross is this wedge right here. This wedge is where they cross. So that would actually be my answer. That wedge right there would be my answer. And so my answer would be this right here. That would be my answer for this equation, for the systems of linear inequalities. All right. And so if you're doing this on a test, you can shade very lightly, and then at the end, just shade dark where your wedge is or wherever they cross over each other. Question. So how do you All right, so check your work. The first one is a solid line. Start at 2, go down 1/1, everything above it. Second one is a dashed line. I did it with intercepts, everything below it, and that little tiny sliver of a wedge is your answer.